Good evening everyone, I am Norjan May Di Papaleras, and today I am going to discuss the human musculoskeletal system. As we go further to this discussion, we'll be able to discuss the types of joints, their definition, and their example. So, let's begin. So, human musculoskeletal system is also known as the locomotor system and previously known as the activity system. It is an organ system that gives human the ability to move or conduct movement using muscles and joints, bones, and any other connective tissues. It also provides support and stability and movement to the body. As we observed, our body has a structure and has a form. So, what would you think if ato ang lawas is walay muscles and walay bones? So, syempre, ato ang lawas is murag lupay-pay siya or something like kanang humukdan ni kayo. But because of this musculoskeletal system, we can be able to perform or conduct any movement that we want. We can be able to walk, we can be able to jump. So, basically, this system discuss on how the bones is connected to the other bones and the muscles is connected to the connective tissues. But before we proceed, let us know first what is joints. Joints are structures that connect individual bones and allow bones to move against other to cause movements. Bones give us stability hinungdan nga nung makatindog ta ug tarong og kanang dili ta matumba og maka-create ta og movement o maka-perform ta og movement. As we all know, bones are made of connective tissues reinforced with calcium that make up our body's skeletal. Furthermore, bones are connected with joints that allows us to be more flexible. Joints defined as an area in which two or more bones met. And the connection made between bones are what we call articulation. Articulation or articular surface is the connection made between bones in the body which link to the skeletal system into a functional whole. So, katong giingon na og ganiha nga, ang bones is connected siya sa joints. So, ang each part sa ato ang bones is syempre connected siya sa bawat joints, but there are different types of joints na that will be discussed later. So, natawag siya o ganang or nalink siya into the skeletal system as functional or functioning as a whole since ang ato ang bones sa every part sa atong lawas is connected both joints and the bones. It is constructed to allow for different degrees and types of movements. So, katong gitawag pag gani ng movements nga katong flexion and extension, katong kaning elbow, mo ni siya ang example sa joints. And this one is the bone and the other one is the bone which is kina-connect siya. And ang tawag sa connection nga naa din hiya between two or more bones is what we call articulation. So, mo ning hinungdan nga maka-flex ta o maka-extend ta sa atong kamot. So, it also help execute smooth and precise movement. So, since ang ato amang bones is connected sa joints, dili man na siya straight lang. So, maka-bend ta, maka-grab ta og kanang kung gusto tumukuhag ka ng something or baso, maka-grab ta, maka-bend ta sa atong elbow. Mag-flex ta o mag-extend, mag-close ta o mag-open sa atong hands. So now, let us proceed to the three dimensions of joints: the diarthrosis, amphiarthrosis, and synarthrosis. First, diarthrosis. So this is the freely movable joints, which allows extensive mobility between two or more articular heads, and it is also known as the synovial cavity joints. So, maulit siya ang mga joints na makita nato sa atong elbow, makita nato sa atong wrist, makita nato sa atong ankles, sa atong hips. So, there are many examples na ma-discuss later. So, what we call diarthrosis is also known as synovial joints. These are the joints that are not directly connected. Synovial joints are filled with synovial fluid. When we say synovial fluid, this is lubricants that is produced by the synovial membrane that reduces friction when you move your joints. Pantog, dali ra kay nimo mabend ang katong mga examples na og ganiha, ang imong wrist and imuhang hips and ang imuhang ankles. We have 5 types of synovial joints. The hinge, which moves like a hinge in one plane only. Example, the elbow, the knee, and finger joints. The pivot, which rotation of one bone around another. ball and socket, joints that can rotate and move around in all planes. Example, shoulder and hips. Condyloid, joints can't rotate but moves in many planes. The example of this one is the bones between the radius and the carpus. The last one is the gliding and plane. This joint slides and twists. Example of this one is bones of the wrist and the ankles. The second type of joints is what we call amphiarthrosis. These are the joint that is slightly movable. Two or more are held together so tightly that only limited movement is permitted. Most of these are the cartilaginous joints. There are two types of cartilaginous joints. Number one is enchondrosis, almost immovable joints between bones bound by layer or cartilage. The example of this one is the vertebrae of spine. So kung kadtong ganihan the arthrosis is kanang freely movable siya, like sa atong kuan, sa atong shoulder makaapta, sa atoang wrist makabenta, sa atoang knee makabenta. But then dinhi sa amphiarthrosis, ang example dinhi sa atong types o sa cartilaginous joints is the vertebrae of spine, which is ang atong spine dinhi sa atong likod. So kung makabantay mo, dili kayo nato ni siya mabend just like sa uban nga joints nga naa sa atong lawas. And this is the example of amphiarthrosis. So the second one is symphysis. This is two bones are closely joined, either forming an immovable joints or completely fused. Example of this one is the atong pubic bones in the center of the pelvis and the midline of our lower jaw. So the last type of joints is the what we called synarthrosis. These are the immovable joints and predominantly fibrous. So kung katong ganiha, ang arthrosis is really movable, ang amphiarthrosis is katong slightly movable, kaning synarthrosis is mo ni siyang mga joints nga immovable, dili nimo siya mabend. So there are three types of immovable joints. First is the gymphosis, known as dentoalveolar syndesmosis, that binds to the bony teeth sockets and the maxillary bone of mandible. So makita nato ni siya dinhi sa ato ang ngipon banda. So ang synarthrosis manggod is bones ni siya nga ang purpose is nagka-connect pero dili nimo siya ma-move or something like immovable joints jud siya. So ang second is the sutures, bones connected by fibrous seams and was located in the skulls. So there are four classification of this one: the coronal sutures between frontal and parietal lobe, the lambdoid sutures between occipital and parietal lobe, the sagittal sutures between parietal bones, and squamous sutures between parietal and temporal bones. So makita ni siya natong classification, kani upat ka classification sa atoang kanang sa atoang skull. So makakita tag mga line dira mo na siya gintawag nga sutures. Though dili nimo siya ma-move, pero ang purpose lang niya is mag-connect siya sa mga bones, pero dili nimo siya ma-move. And the last one is the enchondrosis, which is the joints in which the bones are bound by hyaline cartilage. That is all for today. Thank you and good night.